Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by uppercutchops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all natural dry-aged USDA Prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Yes, Wagyu, not Wagyu. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all those gigantic and massive cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes, best I've ever had. Probably will be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at uppercutchops.com. That's uppercutchops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner, 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for uppercutchops.com. All right, welcome in everybody listening in and watching, of course, on all of our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast. Everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wow, Charter, CBS, NBC Digital, and independent affiliates in select markets, of course. Hotel Television, and that is in all Nielsen-rated markets where applicable, of course. All those upscale resorts and hotels, really nice stuff, about 500,000 rooms or so. And of course, everybody watching on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Thanks for joining us over there too. A fun group where you get to talk about your favorite foods, restaurants, recipes, and guess what? You can make some friends around the world. In fact, in all four corners of the world for all you flat earthers out there. That's right. Hey, listen, for all you flat earthers and everybody else, make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. How many times have you gone out to dinner and you see a family of four, maybe at the next table over, and you see all four people are doing what? Well, they're not talking to each other because they're busy on their damn cell phones. That's right. The family unit is in question here in these United States of America and around the world. Why is it that everywhere I seem to go, and I just go to regular places like the regular mom and pop places and whatnot, but that's all I see are people on their damn cell phones. Get off the phone! It just gets to the point where, all right, are you at dinner? Are you with your family? Are you communicating with your family? Or are you on the phone? Now, we see it all the time in ball games. It's the same thing. And so this is what drives me crazy. Folks, I can tell you not only as a fan, because I go to games too, but as a former ball player, there's nothing worse than being on the field and you're playing in front of lots and lots and lots and lots of people, but nobody's looking at the field. You know why? Because they're all busy looking at their damn cell phones. They're busy checking in or saying, look at me, these are my seats, or look at my food, this is what I'm doing. You're taking selfies of them and whatever in the backdrop, maybe the field in the backdrop, who the hell knows? The fact is their back is facing the field when they need to be facing the actual field itself, having their back face the crowd. It's crazy to imagine that people spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to go to a game and do what? They don't watch the damn game because they're so busy worried about how many people are following them, or they just put a post up. How many people are going to like it? How many people are going to leave a comment where now you're into a conversation? Oh, by the way, remember, folks, you're at a game. But so many people are so busy on their damn mobile device that even at baseball games, they had to put, yes, netting around the whole blasted field except the outfield. Because why? Oh, because people could get struck by a baseball or something else or some other projectile. Because they're so damn worried about being on the phone and not watching the game that, yes, the possibility of getting hit by a ball or something or a bat or whatever the hell, nobody's watching the game. No. Let's see what Bobby or Billy or Susie Q are doing. Never mind the fact that, let's just say it's a family of four, like that same family of four that went out to dinner. And I just saw this. I literally just saw this recently. And I'm looking at a family of four, and mom and dad and the two kids, the boy and girl, what are they all doing? They're busy on their bleeping phones. And I want to say the wrong word, but I can't because it's an enormous penalty. I don't want to get sent to the principal's office and have to pay an enormous fine. But the point is, the family unit and the communication, for example, in that situation, is only a microcosm of what happens at the ball game. And it's not just baseball games. It's football games. It's basketball games. It's hockey games even, the fastest action going. That's right. It's everywhere. Football, baseball, hockey, basketball, soccer. That's right. Even soccer. You see it at soccer? And of course, you'll see it at tennis because apparently the game isn't going fast enough already. You certainly would see it where, I suppose, if it was me, I'd probably be doing it if I was watching curling. Or I would be having a cocktail, watching them and saying, this is not a sport, folks. But this is what happens. Even when you go to see auto racing, so you go to see one of those 250 or 500 mile races, what are they busy doing? They're on their damn phones. If they're not getting drunk, they're getting drunk on the phone, or they're drunk with attention, or they're so self-absorbed. It's one sort of intoxication or another. Or better yet, it's one sort of addiction or another. That's kind of how I see it, folks. And look, I don't think I'm wrong about this. I really don't. And look, the addiction part of it, that's real. There's a real disease. I'm not going to go through the scientific side of it. You can go ahead and search on your favorite search engine. Maybe that rhymes with noodle. Maybe you could do that yourself. I'm not going to do it for you. But listen, folks, when you're at the game, be at the game. When you're at dinner, be at dinner. Family time is supposed to be just that. It's not supposed to be everybody look down and get screen time. And they wonder why their vision's going and their ability to communicate is going. And then the fans can't seem to communicate with the players. So what do? Oh yeah, I went to a game and I saw this guy play out in left field or something like that. Oh, we were right down the left field line and we were even with the left fielder and all this other crap. And they're busy not watching the game. What are they doing? They're buying baseball cards or trading baseball cards or something like that, or football cards or hockey or basketball cards of the player that they're near. And obviously this example would be baseball, but they're busy trying to make $1 instead of the experience and getting a cool memory. Instead, let's go make $1 and forget the memory and forget our communication skills. Look, the reality is this. When you're at the game, be at the game. You may remember some big plays and sounds and things that you probably or potentially could never see again. There are things that I have seen as a player and as a fan that I will never forget. As a player, I was part of a no-hitter. I also was on the pitching mound when my team got me a triple play. How cool is that? Round the horn, 5-4-3 triple play. And so those are things, obviously, I could not be on a cell phone at that time. Yes, they did have cell phones back in those days. But the point is, you might miss something. And let's face it, in baseball, an inside the park home run, maybe you might only see half it. Maybe you won't even know how the beginning of it happened, and you only see the play at the plate. Or you'll be too busy saying, oh, somebody will say, hey, look, something exciting's going on. Then you'll be fumbling around with your telephone, trying to get to the camera app, unblock the camera that's being blocked in the first place, open the microphone, and by the time you get your phone ready, the guy's already slid headfirst into home, and you already missed the whole play. Imagine missing arguably the most exciting play in sports. I would say that's the most exciting play in all of sports. Some people say it's a penalty shot. In hockey, it is for sure. A penalty shot is. But in football, you say maybe it's a run back from the end zone all the way, running 100 yards or whatever, from one end zone to the other. Right? In basketball, it could be a slam dunk by your favorite person or something like that. The reality is, if you're busy on your phone, there's a real good chance you're not going to see it. And that's why in the baseball stadiums they had to put netting up, because people were too self-absorbed and they're too busy, not showing respect to the players and the people around you. No, not really getting the fun out of it, because really you feel the true energy of the crowd when you're in the crowd, when you're a part of the crowd, not hiding behind a telephone. Think about that. Your experience has been flushed down the toilet, like going to a concert. You're either at the concert, enjoying the concert, or what are you doing? Nowadays, you're running video on the concert the whole time so you can enjoy it at a later date. Never mind the fact that you paid $1,000 to get into that place to get close enough to be able to get a good video in the first place. To do what? To watch the concert at another time? When you're at the show, be at the show. When you're at the game, be at the game. Back here in a few minutes, and no, I'm not going to get on my cell phone. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the circus.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.
Swirling like a top, with a grin and a roar, he commands the Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP-TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by your friends at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. Check them out, folks. They've been with us since the very, very beginning. Yes! That's pretty damn exciting. All right, welcome back to everybody tuning in on the radio, listening in, and waking up with us over in Atlanta. 99.1 FM, WDJY at AM, Monday through Friday. Thanks for joining us right down the road, Columbus, Georgia. That's Metro Atlanta, by the way. And right down the road in Columbus, Georgia, all the way over to Montgomery, Alabama, with that antenna right there in Auburn. War Eagle, our friends on WAUD, home of the Atlanta Braves. Thanks for joining us on that afternoon drive, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m., up and down the West Coast, or better yet, up and down the Midwest, out to the West Coast. Everyone out here in Las Vegas, to sunny Southern California, listening in on 94.9 FM and 96.9 FM, KNAC, Pure Rock, the legendary rock station. And also to our friends from LA all the way up to Anchorage, Alaska, down to Honolulu, CBS 1500 KHKA, that's home of the New York Yankees, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Thanks for driving home with us in the afternoon. And everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild Charter, CBS, NBC Digital, and independent affiliates in select markets. Thanks for doing that. Hotel TV where applicable in all Nielsen-rated markets, by the way, as well as Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook, a fun group where you get to talk about your favorite foods, restaurants, recipes, make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. I'm the administrator of that group. You know, I started that group some time ago, and there is no spam on there, and it is a legit group with no phishing, no nothing. It's good stuff. When I say no nothing, no nonsense. No, it's one of those groups that you could kind of hope it could be, where you don't have people saying silly things just to try to hack into your profiles or anything like that. No, it's legit, folks. It is legit. In fact, we've had some restaurants posted. I posted a few of them on there. I'm not going to name them and give them extra pub, but we've had upwards beyond 250,000 people getting exposure to their restaurants and bakeries and whatnot, all kinds of great stuff. And it's not just Chicagoland. I mean, it is Chicago Food Favorites, but there are a lot of great foods from the big city that are worldwide as well. That's right, including pizza. For all you people that think, oh, pizza, well, the pizza margherita was established in Napoli, Italia, way back in the day. Yes, it was. And then what happened, for all you people that don't know, the pizza was just basically a tomato bread with a little bit of mozzarella, and you got a little basil, and you got some tomato on there, and it was thrown in the oven. So it was basically like it wasn't even a pie. They started calling it a pizza pie, but the reality was it was just kind of like a round thing of bread that happened to have some stuff on it. Then they brought it to New York and they said, you know, there's not enough stuff on it, so we're going to put some stuff on it. And so what they did is they, in my opinion, over there, is they tried to improve it, but they did in their own way. But they turned it into a super thin, super greasy, fold your slice in half to something where you literally tilt the slice of pizza from New York or Boston, whatever, that's migrated to Boston, and it's turned out to be a remarkably greasy, cardboard, awful tasting, give me some antacid kind of a snack. And then when the pizza was brought to Chicago, they said, all right, let's refine this product and let's perfect the product. And they even created one where you had to fork and knife it. That's the deep dish. But Chicago's not known for deep dish. From a tourism standpoint, it is, but the reality is Chicago's known for thin crust pizza. That's right. You get a cracker crust pizza and you get a thin tavern style pizza, which everything's cut into squares, old Sicilian style. And it's not greasy like that New York stuff. You look at a lot of the pizzas back home in Chicago, and I'll tell you what, folks, you know, they serve them on a circle, right? So they cut them on the circle, they put them in there. So when they transport them in the bag or the box, they're on a circle. So in case there's grease, it doesn't seep all the way through to the container. Nonetheless, in many cases, the grease is minimal. It's because the pizza was perfected in Chicago. And what you see out here in Vegas or in LA or in Phoenix or Denver or Miami or San Francisco or Seattle, whatever, pick your favorite city, most of the time it's that New York variety where the pizza's cut into an 8-piece wheel. And that 8-piece greasy wheel is remnant of that New York product. And if you grew up with it, then that's what you like. But you like what you like. But if you were privileged enough to have an incredible product, then you'd understand. And why am I talking about food? Because listen, I started out talking about food in this segment, or better yet, in the first segment, when I was at a restaurant and I saw a family of 4, instead of enjoying each other's company and their dinner, what were they doing? They were all on their cell phones. And then I said, okay, let's take that and let's apply it to a ball game. That's right. And that's actually where we left off. But the reality is, folks, those phones happen to be, in my opinion, it's like the double-edged sword. They're cool. You may be listening to the show on your phone, but at the same time, you may be distracted on your phone. Just remember, staying off your phone at a ball game, it really helps you live in the moment. Connect with family, friends, connect with the moment itself that you just may happen to witness there. It could be something extraordinary. So look, catch the action. Fast plays happen in seconds and disappear forever if you look down. Show that you actually give a damn. And you spend a bunch of money for the ticket, probably, or maybe someone gave you a ticket that they either spent money on or their company spent money on. So show some respect. I mean, looking at a screen really sends a bad sign to kids or to friends who want to share the day with you. And remember, safety is kind of a big deal. And we see this all the time, whether it's at sports or even driving. Put the phone down. That's why cops give tickets if you're on your cell phone. And frankly, I don't blame them. But if you're at a ball game, paying attention, it protects you from flying balls or bats or whatever the hell happens. So look, get rid of the alerts. Turn your phone on airplane mode or something so you can actually be at the game. And maybe you want to record something at some point so you don't have to turn it off, but just make it so you could, even on airplane mode, you could still record stuff, in case you didn't know that. Turn off the alerts. Silent non-urgent dings and pop-ups before you walk through the gates. Take a few pictures, that's cool. Then put the phone away where it belongs. Put it in your pocket, put it in your bag, put it wherever. I mean, look, talk about the score, eat stadium food, watch the players warm up and play instead of scrolling. Think about all that stuff, folks. Those moments that you may be passing up with your family could be precious moments. And honestly, using a cell phone constantly at a ball game is widely considered poor etiquette. And of course, what does it do? It creates friction around distraction. It blocks views. You're holding your phone up all the time. People are like, hey, put that thing down. And it's perceived disrespect for the sport and the people around you. There is such thing as phone etiquette. Believe it or not. And distractions. I mean, look, checking out the action, yeah. So spend an entire game staring at a screen instead of watching the field makes people wonder why someone bought a ticket in the first place. And holding a phone high to record or take endless selfies and get in the way of the other fans sitting directly behind or whatnot just to watch your screen? No, people don't want to do that. They're there because they want to be at the game. And honestly, this one really drives me crazy. I will never understand this one. Now, whether you're at a restaurant, a shopping mall, the post office, all places, of course, you can see Elvis right here in Las Vegas, in case you don't know, right? Because I'm in town. But the reality is, look, anywhere you go, and I don't care whether it's Walmart or this store or that store or whatever, it's like you constantly see people, even walking down the street. What are they doing? They're holding their phone and they're talking with somebody. It's on speakerphone and they're yelling into their phone. Now, can you imagine going to a tennis match and this is going on where they rely on silence, just like in golf? They rely on silence and you're busy on your damn phone? Can you imagine not only the possibility of getting kicked out from like tennis or golf, like I said, but the reality is the people around you are losing their mind because you're busy on your damn phone instead of being at the game. So that is part of the etiquette thing. So look, speaking loudly on phones in a packed seating situation, a game or whatever, it disturbs neighbors who are really trying to enjoy the game. And remember, they bought tickets. You have a ticket, but they bought their tickets too. All things constant, right? The reality is everybody didn't get in for free, and most of the people buy their tickets. So how about showing a little bit of respect for your neighbors and don't shout into your phone during the game. Shout at the players. Shout at the game. Shout hooray or boo or whatever. If that's the kind of shouting you're going to do, don't do it in your phone. Shout at the game. Be a part of the game. You keep hearing it because I got to tell you, folks, being on the field when this happens is remarkably disrespectful. And sometimes, now the players won't tell you, but the players get irritated when they see people on the phone rather than at the game with their heads in the game. Because they know A, they can get hurt, but B, they're not physically enjoying the game. If you think the players don't know, I'll guarantee they do know, but most of them don't say anything because they don't want their money to get funny. Back here in a few minutes on the circus while we go earn some. Don't go anywhere.
I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMC studio in AMC television. Folks, make sure to check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows, which can be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, iHeart, Stitcher, Deezer, Libsyn, plus a whole bunch of others. Also, check out the partners page. Lots of great partners at thesportscircus.com. And of course, one of those, Al's #1 Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. Al's #1 Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. If you can't make it over there for some great food, check them out at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. And you can learn all about the creation of that incredible sandwich about 120 years ago. They are the originators. They opened their first store in 1938. They've been serving up incredible food, everything fresh, never frozen. No, I don't get anything for saying this. These are our friends, and it is truly my favorite sandwich on the planet. It's as good as anything I've ever had. And I got to tell you, folks, it is so much better than that remarkably mediocre Philly cheesesteak sandwich. It's kind of like the argument I gave you with pizza between the East Coast and Chicago. Well, that East Coast driven Philly cheesesteak sandwich and the Italian beef sandwich in Chicago is truly night and day. Just like the pizza, it's night and day. And I'm not saying it because I'm from there. I'm telling you, folks, it's real cooking versus frying. Real cooking on that Italian beef sandwich. It's made with top sirloin, top round, bottom round, really good stuff. And it takes 10, 12, 15 hours to actually prepare that beef in the first place. Unlike throwing a cheap cut of beef on some kind of a flat top, throwing some onions in there and slapping some cheese whiz on it, slapping it on a bun and sending you on your way. I think it's unfair that they don't send you away with at least, in my opinion, some kind of an antacid. I mean, seriously, folks, it's really rough on the stomach. But ultimately, that Italian beef sandwich is truly that good. Check it out. Again, alsbeef.com, and tell them the circus sent you. That's right. Tell them the circus sent you, and maybe you'll get an extra fry or something. I don't know. Who knows? All I know is it'll be well worth your time. All right, welcome back to everybody on TV and radio. Talking about phone etiquette, ball games, and whatnot. And again, like I was saying, if you're going to the game, go to the game. Be at the game. Now, if you have to be rude and be on your phone, remember there are phone etiquette tips as well. And this is whether you're even at a game or not. I mean, look, don't eat or chew gum or anything like that into your phone. Speak clearly. And you don't have to shout into your phone, by the way. Those microphones, I used to work in telecom after playing ball. The microphones on cell phones are hypersensitive. They're very, very sensitive, and they pick up everything. It's kind of like when somebody has a hearing aid, and you realize that the hearing aid amplifies everything, not just the voice that's coming in. That's why sometimes people with hearing aids say, like, I can't hear you, even though they're shouting into the phone. It's because they're trying to hear all the background, or trying to hear over all the background noise on top of it. So that's kind of how that stuff works. But remember, the cell phones themselves are designed with hypersensitive microphones. Hypersensitive. But you don't have to yell into the phone. Speak clearly. And remember, if you're going to do some kind of work there when you're at a game, try to be respectful to the people around you. Hey, listen, everyone's got to take calls. Maybe the babysitter's calling. Maybe something happened. I don't know. But just try to be respectful. You don't have to be an idiot about it. And yes, there are some real etiquette things you need to think about. Preparation, politeness, patience, professionalism, and pace. All that stuff. All these buzzwords and crap like that for cell phone use. And honestly, I don't really care if you're on your phone. Just don't do it next to me when you're shouting, especially at a game. Because now I'm going to shout, and I got to tell you, when I go to games, I am really exceedingly loud. I'll give you an example. So when the Ducks first came into the league, in the National Hockey League, back then they were called the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, which of course I wasn't really thrilled about that, but that was 1993 when they had the 93-94 season. That was their first season. I still have my original ticket from the very first game, and I have all the subsequent tickets, but I have the very first game ticket against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's right. How cool was that? I don't remember the exact date, but I have the ticket. I'd have to find it. But the point is, when you go to games, that's like one of those things. You go to the game, you be at the game, and you don't forget it. And as I had season tickets for 5 years there. And I sat in section 444. So I was essentially right behind the visitor's net where the home team was shooting at the visitor's net twice during the game in the first and third periods. And I'm so loud at the games that my friends knew when I was at the game. They could hear me, believe it or not, they could hear me on television. That's right. You can hear me because I'm that loud. Now, can you imagine you being on the cell phone right next to me and you're shouting in your phone? And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to give you a lesson in shouting, and let me do this now while you're on the telephone. So the person on the phone says, I can't hear you. That person's yelling and da 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 da. Well, there's yelling, and then there is a shouting episode that it literally sounds like a crowd of people, but the crowd, believe it or not, it's a crowd of one. That's right. That's me. I'm the crowd of one. And so even though I know the players can hear me because I've talked to the players. And there was one guy, I will never forget this guy. And he was arguably the worst defenseman that I think I've ever seen in hockey. He's probably a very nice guy. I've never met him in person. But his name was Bobby Dollas. Dollas, if I'm not mistaken. And I found he was one of the original defensemen for the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. And Bobby Dollas, I used to call him Backpedal Bobby because he always got his feet tangled up. Well, not always, but often he got his feet tangled up and he would get beat badly from an offensive player. And so I would ride this guy. I mean, I would let him have it most of the game. And as a matter of fact, one time I went to a game, I watched Anaheim play my hometown Blackhawks in Chicago. And I was at the glass. And I beat on the glass during pregame skate. And I yelled to him, do you think you could get away from me? I'm even on the road. That's right. I'm even on the road. So Bobby couldn't even get, and he looked at me and like triple taked at me like, you've got to be kidding me. That's the same guy. But folks, you can hear me in stadiums, on television or on radio. That's how loud I am. It's ridiculous. So my point is, if you're one of those people that have to be on your cell phone, you better hope that someone with an enormous lung capacity like me is not next to you. Because I guarantee there are people that are significantly louder than me at the games. I just happen to be loud. But there are people that, man, you'd swear you can hear them outside the stadium in an open air stadium. I don't even get it, but whatever. I mean, I whistle loud, but I can't whistle like that kind of loud. But it's not the whistling. It's the noise that comes out of my chops. And what am I doing right now? Well, guess what? I'm on air and you're listening to me. But imagine, I'm the guy next to you. And I've gone with my friends and my family, and some people, they embarrass kind of easy. But I let the players have it because it's fun. Never use foul language. Nope, can't do that. But you want to make sure you have a little bit of fun. And of course, my friends and family that are a little bit shy, they certainly want to hide under the seat when they go with me. But I warn them. And I don't yell all the time. I pick my spots. And I'm not looking for somebody on a cell phone, but I pick my spots. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's just say it's a quiet stadium. There's not much going on. Let's just say it's whether it's baseball, football, basketball, hockey, whatever. There are lulls in every stadium. And I pick my spot so nobody else is yelling at the time that I'm yelling. And I will yell something that will get everybody to tweak their neck within 100 feet of me. Like, what the hell was that? Or who the hell was that? That's me. I'm that guy. And so usually it's something kind of funny. And I even have a hat that was given to me for hockey games right here in Vegas because I had for the first 6 years season tickets for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I always would yell at people, basically, don't get up while the puck is in play. Wait for the puck to stop. It's blown dead. Then get up and whatever, go in and out of your aisles and so forth and so on. And so I even had a hat. I still have the hat today. And it says sit down in bold caps on it. Because I'm always yelling, sit down, as loud as I possibly can. And everybody in the whole section looks. And they're like, boy, that's rude. But they're at the same time like, yeah, good for you. Because you're the only one that had the nerve to yell at somebody to say, sit down anyway. All right, well, that's me at ball games. I'm going to continue on with this when we come back. I got an interesting story for you. It's a baseball one. So we're going to be back in a few minutes right here on the Sports Circus after you listen to the Sports Circus Anthem by Joey That Guy. This song rocks. Back here in a few minutes, right after the song.
Step right up! The show is about to start! With a heart of fire and a restless heart!
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP-TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure you check out the store at thesportscircus.com. Lots of great items, hats, hoodies, t-shirts, ball caps, beanie hats, sweatpants, sweat coats. What else do we have? We have travel mugs, coffee mugs, mouse pads, pillows, blankets, you name it, all with the clever Sports Circus logo on them. It's the store at thesportscircus.com. And guess what? Mention me, Ringmaster Sal, for what? For an extra 20% off your first order. Yes! How do you like that? Pretty damn cool. All right. Of course, we're going to let that one play out for just a moment, just because we can. All right, and a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, as well as everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wow Charter, CBS, NBC Digital, and independent affiliates in select markets, and also Hotel TV in about 500,000 rooms from coast to coast. And that is, of course, where applicable. And those are upscale rooms in hotels and high-end resorts. Boy, that's really nice stuff. It's weird. At one time, I remember going into one of those places, and I'm in the middle of nowhere land. It was, well, I won't say the exact location because I don't want to give away the hotel, but boy, was it nice. What a great situation. I mean, I was trying to get to one of those secluded kind of resorts, whatever, and I was. And I'm like, look at that. There's my show, and I'm actually on the television. How cool is that? I mean, you don't expect that in the middle of Egypt, in the most part. I wasn't in Egypt, but that's just a figure of speech. But yeah, everybody watching over there as well, just like Chicago food favorites. Boy, you know, that's good stuff, folks. Again, talk about your favorite foods, restaurants, recipes, make some friends, have some fun. Chicago food favorites on Facebook. All right. So I had mentioned going to the games. I was kind of loud at the games. I still am. I always have been. When I'm not playing anymore, look, I'm going to voice my opinion. And, you know, here's an interesting thing. So when you're playing out there and you ask any ball player, any professional ball player, and whether you're playing in the infield, outfield, whatever, it's a buzz you hear of the crowd. It's just a buzz, whatever. The crowd is just buzz, whatever. But what gets your attention is, you see, there are separate phrases, words, your separate lingo that goes on in the dugout, on the field, in the clubhouse, amongst your friends, that your peers and whatnot. And when something like that comes from the audience, it makes the players kind of tweak their neck and look like, hey, who's over there? Do I know that person? And I can tell you, I have fallen victim to that myself. And sometimes you'll hear people that either are playing, maybe they're on the injured list or something like that, or they're out for a certain amount of time, or maybe it's just they're out for some family things or whatever. They happen to be at the ball game. Well, or they former players. And you just hear stuff that is your lingo. And I guarantee the players do hear it, and they do get distracted from time to time. That's one way they certainly get distracted. And I'm that guy, especially at baseball games. I know what to say to get up in those heads of the visiting players. I know that one. And so I remember this one quite well. Actually, I got a couple baseball stories. So one of them is I was sitting out. I was injured. I had torn a rotor cuff. And so I was basically out for the season. And I'm out there in Anaheim sitting in the left field. I'm in the left, right by the foul pole, probably maybe 20 feet away from the foul pole in left field. And it was the local team in Anaheim playing the A's. That was when Ricky Henderson was playing with the A's. And Ricky liked to, rest his soul, Ricky liked to communicate, have fun with the audience. I mean, he's just a big antagonizer. And I love that about him because I had a lot of that myself. And so I was yelling at Ricky, and Ricky would kind of tilt his head back because he knew I was saying ball game stuff, ball player stuff. And so
And this was probably about the 7th inning or something like that. And I had said something that it didn't sit so well with him, and he was a little bit angry. So he turned around as from the left field position, and he walked probably about 10 feet towards the foul pole in my direction. He's not going to come into the audience. I got another story for that. But the funny thing is that he started walking the direction. He started shouting. And then what did he do? Ricky actually held his glove up like he's going to catch a ball, whatever. And there was no ball to be caught. And what did he do? He proceeded to flip me and all the other people around me off. That's right. But he hit it behind his glove. That's just funny stuff. That's like a Ricky Henderson isms. I mean, Ricky was one of the greatest players of all time, best leadoff hitter of all time, but he was also fun to interact with. And sometimes you say stuff that just gets in their head and they actually pay attention, and all you're doing is just shouting at them. But remember, it's not profanity, but you're saying stuff. And like, there's another guy that for the Las Vegas 51s at that time, it was the New York Mets AAA baseball team, which later they moved to New York. They moved to Binghamton, New York. So it was the Las Vegas 51s for Area 51. And they were playing a game, and I always sat right behind home plate, literally maybe 40 feet from the hitter. And so I was calling the balls and strikes before the umpire would call balls and strikes. Needless to say, the umpire didn't really like me too much because I was at a lot of the games, but get over it. Luckily, they rotated them. And there was one guy on the team. His name was Gavin Cicchini. And Gavin, he was good enough to play AAA ball. He made it up for a cup of coffee to the show. And so Gavin, it would seem to me, whenever this guy would get up to bat, runners in scoring position or something, he would just, in my opinion, he would just choke. He was a complete choke artist, in my opinion. And so unfortunately for Gavin, well, I was sitting behind him. And so as he walks up to the plate, because I already know his track record, I know everything about the guy. And I said, okay, now we're going to have some fun. So he gets out there. I'm trying to distract him because I already know he's going to be getting us out of the inning. I already knew that the 51 is going to be out of the inning. So what did I do? This is probably one of the most unique things I've ever done to heckle a player. Is first of all, I called him by all 5 of his names. That's right, all 5 of his names. So I would yell out, Gavin, Glenn, Christopher, Joseph, Cicchini. And you think of that. Who's going to call you all that? Well, usually it's your parents when you're in trouble. They call you by your full name. Like my full first name is Salvatore. It's my parents, whenever I was in trouble, Salvatore! I already knew I was in deep water. And so I said, all right, here's Gavin, Glenn, Christopher, Joseph, Cicchini. And so what did I do? I said, it's funny because as soon as I said that, he turned right and looked right at me and he started laughing because nobody does that to him. And then what did I proceed to do? I proceeded to read him his horoscope. It was ridiculous. And again, and even the umpire and the catcher turned around and they started laughing because never have they heard anybody read a horoscope to a player that just walked up to home plate. And you've got to be creative, folks. You got to have a little fun with this. And look, when you're on your cell phone, you can't do stuff like this. That's where I started out. Get off your damn phone. And when you're at the game, be at the game. And if you're going to have some fun like that, I know that player and the catcher. It's funny because the catcher for that team later went on to play in the bigs for a whole bunch of years. And I would be willing to bet you a box of donuts that catcher still remembers that. I'd be willing to bet you the umpire still remembers that. And all the people around me, all the scouts and whatnot, because I sit in the scout section right behind home plate. Everybody that heard that, I guarantee a lot of those people remember it because you just don't hear it. But it's fun. And that's one of those things, one of those events. You get to a game. Look, you may miss something fun. And let's face it, if you're on the phone, you may have missed that ridiculous comment by me or that series of comments by me. And it's not that I'm special, but it's unique. You're like, you'd be like maybe 30 years down the road. Yeah, I remember this one time I was at a game and I heard this guy call this player all 5 of his names and then proceeded to read him his horoscope. And what did he do? He ended up striking out anyway. But the point is, that kind of stuff is memorable. And when you miss the memories that you're making at games, whether as a player, as a fan, as a member of the media, whatever it is, I try to make the most of every game that I've gone to. And I still remember the very first game I went to when I was a little kid, and I went to go see the White Sox host the Texas Rangers at Old Comiskey Park. And George Orta hit a home run for the White Sox, and so did Richie Zisk, if I'm not mistaken. George Orta hit 2 home runs. Scoreboard blew up 3 times in that game. White Sox won 9-4. It was a night game. We were sitting on the first side of the game, on the first base side in the upper tank. And that was my first game. We were probably even with the first base bag. And what a great experience. Now, could you imagine if you take your kid to a game, or your friends or your family, they've never been to a game, and you're busy on your damn cell phone or your mobile device, whatever the hell it is, and you're missing, or what about the kids missing their first game? What if a ball comes their way and they're not ready for it? And the parents aren't ready because they're busy on the phone. Maybe the ball hits them in the head. Maybe the ball lands in their laps and somebody grabs it from them. This stuff happens, folks. And you may be missing out on one of the greatest moments of your life, although it may seem insignificant. One of the most memorable moments could happen. But guess what? You might be on your cell phone and you might be too damn busy to pay attention to it. And you may miss out on the whole damn thing. The only thing I have to say, folks, real quick, is get off the phone and be at the game. We'll see you in 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
Hey, bud, what's your problem?
Some people simply do not belong.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from uppercutchops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at uppercutchops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. Uppercutchops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.